Hello everyone and welcome to another StarCraft 2 cast. For this one we're doing a replay because it's a game I just played and I thought it was worth a cast. I had an idea for a new build order. Went to a custom game, kind of tried it out. It wasn't making sense. So I said screw it, let's just go straight to the ladder and try it against a Master League Zerg opponent. So we are sending out our first SCV to Inch Bay block and our depot as per normal for my build. But the follow-up is going to be a little bit different after the Inch Bay block. So, yeah, first Overlord heading across the map to probably scout my natural and fall back here. Second Overlord often maybe searches his third and then ends up coming back into this dead zone maybe. Anyways, I'm throwing down the Inch Bay for the Inch Bay block. Drone is coming down the ramp and we are going to engage him. So it looks like I had the first hit actually, but my goal is not to kill that drone. So we're just going to add a few more hit points and then we're going to run away. Because the idea is to have this SCV kind of circle back around. While meanwhile we sent out another SCV and we're building a command center right by the opponent's third base. You can see its vision actually goes right up to here, so I don't know if we put it up here, whether he'd spot it as he was placing it or not. That's something I would have to test. Meanwhile, that SCV that was placed in the Inch Bay block has circled back over here, and at home we are taking our gas and an engineering bay. Now we are delaying the barracks much further with this build than typical. Normally it's Inch Bay block, gas, command center, barracks. But in this case, we went Inch Bay, command center, barracks. I guess we're actually kind of doing it in the same order, except I went Inch Bay before barracks, and that was for no particular reason because I don't actually need this Inch Bay done yet. Yeah, like I said, this is the first time I've tried this build, so there's lots of refining we can do. There are some lings over by this third base, and that's unfortunate timing because he's going to see the command center, or is he? He saw it. He's chasing the SCV. Poor decisions made, and we are going to be able to land that CC. We're a little bit short on gas at the moment, but there we go. Planetary Fortress has begun. Meanwhile, Command Center 2 is building for the inevitable second attempt to expand for the Zerg. So this is the idea. We block his natural, assume he's going to take his third as a response, in which case we have a Command Center waiting for him, and then as soon as we can, we build another Command Center to go take out his natural, which will be the assumed follow-up structure. Those lings have finally arrived back after chasing that SCV all the way across the map and not even killing the SCV. Looks like we're able to pick off a couple of drones and some lings. Get some shots on that queen there. Damage a larva. And here we go, floating in the next command center. This is a little bit risky on this map because this is a common place to put an Overlord, but not in this particular case. He has not done so. It looks like he has enough to take down that CC if he sees it land. You can really just focus fire the queens, I think, because the Zerglings, I mean, they're free kills. It's nice to kill Zerglings, but they're not a threat to kill the Planetary. The Planetary has 3 armor. The Zerglings are doing 5 damage per hit, which means 2 damage per hit versus the armor of a Planetary. So it looks like this hatchery has completed, which means you can now see the Planetary Fortress morphing, but he's well too late. We even have a couple SCVs ready for it to finish, and they will come in and start working on the follow-up. That hatchery goes down. These drones are going to go through the parade of death. Shutting down creep spread with offensive SCVs. Very, very standard in this matchup. I haven't scouted him yet. I'm not sure what he's up to, so at least I don't believe I have. No, not yet. So throwing just down a random missile turret at each of these planetaries. I guess this one's not that important anymore. If he kills SPF, it's not a big deal. This hatchery's already dead. So I could cut this missile turret, I suppose. Mistakes were made. We are outside of range of this hatchery, and I am not noticing that. I'm just assuming that the hatchery is dying at this moment. Meanwhile, I'll follow up behind. I have no idea what a good follow-up is. I'm going to try 2-port Banshee, see how that works out. I feel it'll work against Ravagers, which are a natural siege unit in the early game to the planetary. And it's pretty good at picking off queens as well. Perhaps just much like TVP, Cyclones would actually be the good choice. Very mobile, able to attack air and ground. You know, it'll be okay versus Ravagers, it'll be okay versus Queens. It'll be able to handle things like Mutas and Nidus Worms a lot better than Banshees will. Well, no, Banshees will be just as good versus Nidus Worms, actually. Taking my 3rd Gas Geyser in the most normal of locations. Don't worry about oversaturating when you're deep distance mining. You actually want to look to see, make sure there's always an SCV waiting before the next SCV enters. Distance mining a gas geyser actually isn't that terrible either, because you know, if you want to distance mine minerals, then like every patch you got to do an extra 3 workers. But since there's only 1 gas geyser or 2 gas geysers, you only got to put an extra 3 workers on 1 or 2 places. So with 3 extra SCVs, I'm fully fully efficient on that gas geyser, getting the same amount of income I would get as if I were this close. Oh, one-shotting 2 Ravager is always nice. We did get high-sec auto-tracking, and that's not part of this build, but I figured that would give me the range on the hatchery, and it did. So it corrected the mistake I had earlier. We're on 5 gas geysers now, so I could actually be pumping more than 2 Banshees at a time with the gas income we got coming in. We're at 600 bank. Taking down yet another queen. Pulling this Banshee back to get repaired like the first one. So now we're going to have 2 fully repaired Banshees with 2 more on the way versus a 1 base Zerg who's just started his Spire. So yeah, looks like we actually just switched into Vikings too. I kind of felt maybe that would be, the follow-up would be a Spire. But yeah, Gosler is going to put himself out of his misery there and call it the end of that match. And there you have it, the double planetary fortress rush, because 1 is just not good enough. So my thoughts on this build, like whether it could be legitimate or not. I mean, we did just beat a Master League opponent. I do have a 100% win rate, as I've only played this 1 match on the ladder. However, I feel like a lot has to go right. Like the overlords can't spot it. You got to expand the way you expect him to expand, but the timings are pretty good. Like the times when I land the command centers is a good time to, you know, start the PF upgrade before the hatchery finishes. If the hatchery's already done, the creep is going to spread out too far and you can't land the command center. And I think landing the command center is probably typically good enough. So even if I land it and the hatchery immediately finishes and then he spots the CC, it's very unlikely he'll be able to take it down before it turns into a planetary and guns everything out, especially when you got SCVs across the map to help repair. And he doesn't really have any high damage per hit units, right? It's the Zerglings and Queens. They're not not the greatest at killing structures that have armor. So it's mostly like where I'm producing the command centers. Like I would produce one here and I produce one over here. Whether they will get spotted or not. I don't know too much about how typically Zergs send out their overlords on most maps. If I'm going to continue with this build, that's something I'd have to learn. But yeah, it seems like the stars have to align for this build to actually make sense. However, this is an extremely unrefined version of this build. I mean, like I said, I got the engineering bay way before I needed to, so I could have gotten the barracks first, or I could have gotten the second command center first, probably. So I could have faster tech or a faster follow-up PF. My follow-up units, you can see I got like a huge float here. I mean, some of that was because I didn't quit the game immediately, but I think I was at like 900, 600 when this game ended. So I could macro better. I got to learn like what production I want, what units I want to make. I'm thinking actually now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking Cyclones might be the better choice. Because we already got something to deal with Zerglings, and that is the planetaries. And everything else Cyclones is decent against. Roaches, Ravagers, Queens, Spines. It's got a place in all those things. Oh, Spines. Man, some Zergs might try to counter as Spines. That would be great. If you ever see him building Spines, just get high sec auto tracking. A lot of Zergs don't realize that with high sec auto tracking, Spines do not outrange a planetary anymore. Yeah. If he gets a lair, there's a whole bunch of things you gotta worry about. Mutas being a main one. He won't have many gases, but again, Mutas do not care about planetary fortresses, so something to think about. Nidus Worm is probably the most common tactic you would probably see if he went lair. I think it would take too long, but Lurkers would outrange a planetary. But the recent patch changed the Lurker. I think they do one less range now. They do one less range than they used to, but there's an upgrade on Hive Tech that allows them to do one more range than they used to. So for this sort of PF rush, the only thing that matters is they're doing one less range. But it's still range 8, which is going to outrange the planetary with or without high sec auto tracking. Yeah, with high sec auto tracking, I'm at range 7. However, range 8 does mean it has no chance of killing the workers on the far side. Well, I guess no matter what, it probably doesn't have any chance of killing the repairing SCVs. So it can start firing on the planetary without getting any damage in return, but it can't deal with the repairing SCVs. Yeah, so I'll be playing with this build a little bit more. See if we can get a decent win rate out of it. I'm going to guess it's going to be worse than my TVP win rate with the PF Rush. I think that PF Rush is a little more legitimate. I've actually gotten that win rate up to a respectable level, like 35-40%, which obviously isn't great when you're trying to proceed up the ladder, but you know, PF rushing anyone in Masters League at anything above 0% is kind of hilariously good. So I like hilarity. Yeah, I just feel like there's too many things that could go wrong with this. I probably have to abandon. Let's see if he goes pool first instead of the normal 15 hatch. I think we turn into a single PF rush. So say we get this thing halfway done, which would be about now. About the 1 minute mark, and I haven't seen a drone yet. That means they open pool first. So I think versus pool first, we would just PF rush the natural. Because he's probably not going to take a third, I would assume. We still have 2 SCVs on the map, so we can use one to build the command center over here, and another one to block the third location, just to make sure he doesn't build it over there. But often if they go pool first, they're going to build some Zerglings, kill off this Inge Bay, and then plant their first hatchery here. So I think we could still PF rush that in that situation. We just put down the command center here, and then we complete our wall with Barracks Inge Bay, at which point he'll clear the Inge Bay and plant his hatchery, send the Lings across the map. By the time they arrive, we'll have a completed wall, we'll have a Marine on the way, and we'll have a command center, which will be probably floating over this way. It could time out actually really good. In fact, I think against pool first, this build seems a lot more legitimate. I could see it working really well. Throw down the Inge Bay. His Lings pop, kill the Inge Bay, go across the map. But when he gets across the map, we already have a wall and a Marine. And that means his Lings are across the map and not able to defend when you're planting your command center in front of his hatchery that's in production. I like it. In fact, depending on how the timing works, it may even make sense not to make a Marine at your side of the wall. Because if he doesn't see a Marine, he'll just say, okay, this is free damage. Let me keep my Lings here and just keep it whacking away at this wall as long as I can. And forcing you to pull one or two SCVs to repair is probably worth it if it means his Lings are going to be all the way across the map when you PF rush his natural. Anywho, with that, we'll call it the end of this video. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'm out of here. Goodbye.